rise in opposition to a school aid budget that ultimately leaves many of our students behind. Many kids in our state are facing a literacy crisis. Test scores show our students are falling behind when it comes to reading scores, and yet our amendment to boost reading programs by $22 million in our schools was rejected. When it comes to higher education, we shortchange our students by not working to keep college affordable or to make sure we make career and technical training available to our students. Proper state support for higher education means these institutions would not always have to rely on tuition increases to raise the funds they need. According to the Senate Fiscal Agency, state spending on higher education between 2001 and 2017 has plummeted by 19%. We cannot offer our students the world-class skill set they need for the jobs of the future if we're not fully funding these institutions in order to allow more students to attend. Another issue I have with this spending bill is the fact that it does something that is against our state constitution, as mentioned by many other speakers. Use of state tax dollars for private schools is prohibited in our Constitution, and there's currently litigation in the courts about prior attempts by this body to do just that. This $2.5 million will be tied up in the courts for some time. If this $2.5 million won't be put into our public schools, I say it should be put right into one of the many potholes in our public roads. This would be a much better use of taxpayer dollars. It would not run afoul of our Constitution. I couldn't end my speech without mentioning an item which I personally believe is indefensible. The funding of online schools at the same level as brick and mortar schools is something that we shouldn't even need to be debated on this House floor. There is no arguing the fact that brick and mortar schools have expenses that online schools do not. And although online schools may have somewhat higher technology costs, I don't think anyone would argue those costs make up for the costs of operating a brick and mortar school. If anyone would like to argue this point, I would love to see statistics or studies to back up their claims. I don't think any exist. My colleagues and I have offered amendments to address these concerns, but they've been rejected. There's still time, Mr. Speaker, and I hope we can do better for our students before this budget is passed and signed into law. Thank you.